even told you that I was gonna do it. So I'm doing it now for you. So for those people on YouTube, for those people on the Twitch right now, I mean, I'm doing this little, small, decent tutorial with Necalli, which I can do. I've been playing this character since the beta. I haven't been playing him consistently when the game came out, but he was the second character I ever played with when I played in the beta. So I think I can teach you guys a thing or two with Necalli. So I guess we're just gonna go random. Are we gonna go random? I guess we're gonna go random. Hopefully it's not gonna be like the training stage or some shit. I'm so tired of that. We're just gonna go original. And let's have real. City of Chaos? Alright, I fuck with that. Yeah, what up, Demon Slayer? Demon Slayer, right now I'm doing a quick little beginner guide or whatever you're gonna call it, right? For Necalli, for Yam Yam. Just to teach him, you know. Since he is kind of new to Street Fighter. Alright, so I guess we can go with like a small little character introduction with Necalli. Necalli is, as you guys can see, he is pretty unique, right? He doesn't look like any of the other Street Fighter characters. He is a new Street Fighter character which got introduced to us in Street Fighter V, which is the game we're playing right now. And I would pretty much say that this character is pretty well-rounded. He's pretty well-rounded. He's like a Shoto character, but he doesn't have a fireball. And, you know, he got some extra stuff as well, which a Shoto character doesn't have, right? So, he is kind of related to the Satsui no Hado. That doesn't mean he's related to Kuma. Well, not Kuma. What the fuck? Kuma? Yeah, shout out to Kuma. But Akuma in Street Fighter. But he got something related with the Satsui no Hado, which explains why he's Ryu's rival in the story. So, I guess we can go in with his buttons. So, he got his jab, right? His normals, all his normals is really fucking good in my opinion, at least. This is a crush counter. His standing light punch is pretty fucking quick. I can't remember if it's 3 frames. His crouching light jab is 3 frames. And that's pretty much it. I'm not gonna go in that much to the frame data and whatnot. You guys can look that up if you want to get advanced when it comes to that stuff. So pretty much I'm just gonna go through his command list and I'm gonna tell you guys what he got. The disc guidance. So pretty much this disc is really fucking good. It's like Blanca's move. It's like Blanca's charging move. So you can see it as Blanca, right? It go through fireballs just like Blanca's charging one does as well. However, Necalli doesn't need an EX, while Blanca needs an EX to go through the fireball, right? But Necalli's disc, his charging move, has invincibility frame, you could kind of say. It's pretty much, the move is so strong that it just go through fireballs. So if you're finding a Ryu player or any other characters that's doing fireball games against you, doing the disc move can be saved most of the time, and you get a free knockdown as well. So if you have them in the corner like I'm having Ryu right now, and you're getting them because they're doing too many fireballs, they're pretty much in the corner with you, standing right next to them. So you can mix them the fuck up or whatever you want to do. So that's pretty much everything there is about his charging disc. Keep in mind, do not do his charging disc randomly. I mean, if you see the Ryu player or any other player doing footsies and really trying to play defensive and real turtle style, just don't, you know, throw the disc away because it's really unsafe on block and they can punish the fuck out of you. So I would rather go with I would rather use the charging move as a finisher for any combo. So you can do stomps with Necalli, which I will get more into later. Into like a light jab or like a medium jab into like a charged stuff or some shit. So that's pretty much what it is about his charging disc. Now let me talk about his stomp though. As you can see, he got 3 variations of his stomps, just like he got with his disc, right? So this one is the light one. This one is the medium one. This one is the heavy one. The light one is obviously, it got the safest recovery. His EX one, I can't remember if it's safe on block, but it's pretty good to do sometimes. It's not like, you know, if you're going into V-Trigger, which I'll get into later, it's not like you can mix people up and do a longer combo after you do an EX stomp. But it's pretty good to throw in, you know, sometimes, even though you don't get a knockdown, so keep that in mind. So Normally, you see Necalli players, as far as I know, since I played in the beta, you see Necalli players mostly do the medium stomp. The medium stomp and the light stomp is pretty good to mix up with, so don't keep doing the light stomp only. Keep doing like the medium stomp here and there and do the light stomp as well. Because if you're doing the light stomp, it pretty much got the safest recovery. So it's gonna be less unsafe. They can't punish it at all. If you're doing a heavy one, there's gonna be a higher possibility to catch your opponent. Because if you keep doing a light stomp and a medium stomp, and you're still keeping the pressure onto your opponent, and then you're throwing in a random heavy stomp, as you can see, the startup on the heavy stomp is slower than the light one and the medium one. So if they're pressing any buttons because they think that you're doing a light one or a medium one, they think they can jab you out of the stomp, which they cannot. So that's pretty much a frame trap right there, so keep that in mind. But I would recommend to just, keep doing the light stomp and the medium stomp. So this is pretty much, what I explained at the beginning of the tutorial, that Necalli is kind of like the well-rounded character. He got pretty much anything you need in the game. So let me get into his DP. His DP is really fucking good. Really, extremely fucking good. One of the reasons is, first of all, it got invisibility frame. Hold on. Some people are messaging me. Let me fucking mute my phone so I don't get distracted. So pretty much, like I said, his DP, I'm just going to call it DP because his DP got a really, really long name. So we're just going to go with a DP, and that's pretty much what what everyone knows it as. So pretty much his DP, it got invincibility frame. I can't remember how many frames it is, but that doesn't really matter how many frames it is. The fact that it got invincibility frame makes it so much easier for you to do anti-air with Necalli's DP. Second of all, it got really, really high reach, as you guys can see. So if you're playing against Ibuki, and Ibuki is doing her heavy dash where she launches in the air, one thing that Ibuki can do is that she can do cross up on you. She can do tons of stuff. She can throw a kunai as well, because the moment she launches in the air with her charging move, she kind of stops in the air, which makes it harder for some characters to do, anti-air, like a crouching heavy. Like Ryu, he got a crouching heavy, and it's a pretty solid anti-air. But characters like Ibuki, if they're doing the heavy dash, there are some times where even Ryu's crouching heavy as an anti-air can whiff. So this is where Necalli's DP is really, really fucking good. Heavy DP reaches really high up in the air, as you guys can see. So it doesn't matter if you're fighting a Ibuki and she's doing that charging move, the heavy one, which launches in the air. And if she's doing the parachute as well, you will still be able to catch Ibuki since of the reach Necalli's DP has. But keep in mind, Necalli's DP is like everyone's DP in the game. It's still punishable if the opponent knows that you're going to be doing a DP. So they can just crush counter you whatever they like to. So keep that in mind as well. Now let's go with his... Yeah, I think we're going to go with his V trigger. No, not his V trigger yet. We're going to keep that. We're going to keep that for now. We're going to go with his V skill. His V skill is a really good fireball game as well. I wouldn't recommend using it all the time because it's pretty slow, as you guys can see. People can see the startup. So Necalli's V skill is pretty much like C Viper's ground move. It reacts in the same way. However, it doesn't have like the feint, so you can't feint it with Necalli. And like I said, it got a very, very slow startup compared to C Viper's ground move. So keep in mind, if you're doing a fireball game against a Ryu or a Gao player, it's pretty good to try to hit them. Sometimes you might trade when it comes to the fireball game, but if you already got the health lead, which you probably will have most of the time, if you play real solid with Necalli and your defense is good, which I will get into later, you can get a pretty good health lead really, really quick, especially because he do a lot of damage, this character. So it's pretty easy to get a health lead. So this is where you can trade with the fireball game if they're gonna spam you or they're gonna try to keep you away because you have the health lead and they're close to die. You can trade it out by doing the V skill. And when you're doing the V skill and you're pressing forward as well, that's the reason why it reaches further. If you just do it normally without pressing any forward or back button, it just gets in the mid. And if you hold back while you're doing the V skill, you get it as close as possible. The one as close as possible, I don't see any reason why you want to use that. You can use it for some combos I've seen in Necalli's V-Trigger, but I mean, there are moves that can be replaced if you want to do really, really major damage when you close to your opponent. So it's pretty solid, this move. And keep in mind, while you're doing his V-skill, you're also building up his V-skill meter, which is really, really important for this character, which I will get into in a minute. So pretty much, your solid game, or like your primary offense when it comes to being in range against a fireball player, is pretty much go for the disc if they're just gonna spam fireballs, because you have that invincibility frame, or you have that extra armor, quote unquote, because you can go through fireballs with his disc. If not, and you still need a couple of meters to build up the V skill, or like the V trigger, just go with his V skill, because it builds pretty much pretty good when it comes to his V skill meter. You can also build his meter just by doing crush counters and whatnot, but that's pretty much, you know, if you know the opponent's gonna do. Thank you, Bye, for the host. Appreciate that. So basically, if you're doing crush counters with Necalli, you're also gonna build up your V meter as well. But if you know, like I said, if you just wanna hold, you know, chill, relax, you know, sip on a little drink and chill in the corner while he's doing the fireball game, sometimes you can get the trait, like I said, with his V skill, and it's gonna build up a lot of the meter. Even on block, it's still gonna build up. So if you find a fireball game character and he's just doing fireball, like I said, all like 24/7, it's a pretty easy way to build up his V bar. So let me talk about his command throw. Command throw is really, really fucking good, especially if you combine his V skill and his command throw together. So let's say you're doing a fireball game, like I mentioned, and you're doing a fireball game with Ryu. You're doing the V skill, and Necalli's footsies. I haven't even talked about his footsies, but as far as you guys should know, he got pretty good footsies, and pretty good speed up as well. And that speed will increase when he pops his V trigger. But as you guys can see, his dash is pretty good. He got pretty good dashes. His back dashes is okay, you know. It's not like Vega's back dash, but it's pretty solid. Especially if you're fighting against, like I said, a fireball character that's trying to keep his distance. Then you pop his V skill and you can pretty much get in there really quick on that knockdown. Oh, let me get a sip of my water. Let me get up my sip of my water. So I would pretty much say his V skill is really, really, really solid compared to some of the other Street Fighter characters, and I would say he's that character that uses his V skill a lot, just like Ibuki when you're trying to build up a V skill meter with Ibuki to get the bomb. It's pretty much the same thing with Necalli. However, you're just gonna pop his V trigger and it's gonna be there forever, right? So pretty much his command throw. Let me talk about his command throw. His command throw is quarter circle back punch. Quarter circle back. No, it's not quarter circle back. What the fuck am I talking about? Half circle back. Half circle back into a punch. You can do a light one, medium one, and a heavy one. And I don't think there's any like variety. I don't think there's any difference between those command throws. So it doesn't really matter which one you do. But this is pretty much, like I said, this is gonna be your primary offense when it comes to fireball game. Either doing the disc that will lead you as close as possible to them, and this is where you can get a command throw in or whatnot. Because if you have a Necalli player and you have a really solid Necalli player, you're gonna be blocking a lot. Since, like I mentioned at the start of this tutorial, pretty much all of his neutrals, all of his punches and kicks are pretty good on block, most of them as all, especially his crouching light jab, which is 3 frames, right? So keep that in mind, that if you are a solid Necalli player, you're gonna make your opponent block a lot. And this is where your command throw and, you know, your normal throws, your game plan when it comes to the command throw comes into play. His EX1 is really, really fucking good because you can do tons of stuff after. A lot of people say that, yeah, you know, when you do that shit, you're just gonna go with the DP, heavy DP for as much damage as possible. But a lot of people don't realize that you can do crouching heavy, if I'm right. Oh, no. I guess it is crouching standing. Yeah, there it is. Standing heavy. So what happens is, you have 2 options you can do with his EX command throw. If you don't want to risk it and just do a DP, it's cool. It still do, you know, a solid damage, right? If you don't want to risk a DP and you want to mix him up, this is where all this mix-up comes into play, because his crouching medium punch is really fucking good, and his light medium punch, like I said, 3 frames, really fucking solid. So when you're doing his command throw, and you're resetting them by doing a standing heavy punch, you can do another command throw, if that is the case. If you have a tons of meter, if you have tons of bars to spend, I mean, if you really want to mindset them up, you can just do it again, as you can see. If you want to do it 3 times, I mean, do it, right? Do it. So, I mean, obviously, if you got 3 bars, I would rather stick to doing a CA, of course, but if you can mix them up and you can plant that seed into their mind, really pressuring them like that, I mean, they'll already have way to stun. So if you have already done a solid combo on them and they got half stun and you're doing that mix-up that I just did right now, really risky, because they can still do a DP. If you're playing against a Ryu and he got a reversal as well, with invincibility frame on his DP, they can just DP you out of that. So keep that in mind. But pretty much that's all about his command throw. It's pretty solid. There's not much to it. I mean, like I said, the EX1, you can DP from that. I did miss the DP, whatever. And you can reset it by doing, you know, a standing heavy punch. So keep that in mind. So that's where you can mix him up. Now let's talk about his, what kind of moves can I get into as well, which is really important. I'm gonna get into his V-trigger sooner or later. I guess that's pretty much all of his moves. Yeah, that's pretty much all of his special moves that I just explained to you guys. His overhead, let me just talk about his overhead. His overhead is I mean, it's good, right? It's alright. You can kind of mix up the opponents. If you see your opponent is crouching a lot, and let's say you've been doing command throws and really planted that seed into his mind that you're gonna be pressuring him a lot, which is one of the solid game plans as well with Necalli. If you see them crouch, you can do an overhead as well. I can't remember if you can do something after the overhead. I think you can do something after the V trigger, but don't hang me up on that though, since I've only been playing this character in the beta. So you guys can do the research yourself when it comes to that. But his overhead, pretty solid. It's okay. It's pretty quick also compared to like other characters' overhead. I mean, Ryu's and Gal's and Urian's overheads are pretty solid. They're pretty okay. I can't remember if you can do something that leads up to the overhead. But that's pretty much like the only thing I can explain to you guys about that overhead. It's pretty solid. Use it if you know they're gonna duck. Pretty much just bring the pressure with the overhead. There's not much to it. His sacrificial altar, I don't want to talk about that. It's pretty okay, but it's not something that I use pretty much. I mean, there might be some really solid players that use this, but you're not gonna see me use it. Since this is like, you can say it's a beginner tutorial, so I'm not gonna go that much into the details about stuff. All right, so let's just talk about his V trigger. Let me get a sip of my water. Oh shit, that was good. All right, so his V trigger, pretty much, like I said at the start of my tutorial, one of the primary offense at the start of the game. If you're playing against a fireball character and you're doing his V skill most of the time to build up the V skill or the V meter, the moment you get full bar of the V trigger, I would just recommend you just pop it out, you know. I mean, there are some couple stuff I can get into, which I will come into later, but for the solid game plan of Necalli, I would just say the moment you get full V trigger, just pop it, because pretty much everything is gonna be faster recovery when he goes into his V trigger. And I'm pretty sure that his I mean, you can do tons of fucking damage when he's in his V trigger. And most of the top players in the world, like Momochi and some other people, have mentioned that when Necalli he pops his V trigger, he's pretty much the best character in the game. And I mean fundamentally, he's the best character in the game, because all of his jabs, all of his heavies, everything is pretty safe on block. So this is where your pressuring game can come really into play when you're playing Necalli in his V trigger. So I would definitely say if your defense is pretty solid, Because keep in mind, and this is something really important that I want to emphasize for you guys. Or emphasize for you guys. When Necalli is in his V-trigger, as you guys have probably noticed right now, the V-trigger meter does not go down. The only moment where Necalli is going to go back to normal is when the round is over. Now, what does that tell you? That tells you, so if the opponent is starting to pressure you, you cannot do Necalli's V-reversal. Because you have already popped his V-trigger, so he doesn't have the option to do a V-reversal. And that's pretty much how it is for any character. They cannot do their V-reversal. So keep that in mind that the time is on, there's unlimited time on. You're pretty much going to be his Super Saiyan version until the round finishes. So if you have, like I said, if you have a solid defense and a solid game plan with Necalli, he can be a really, really pesky character to deal with, especially if your defense is pretty solid. So you don't need to use his V-reversal. In his normal version, and you're doing some couple of combos, let me just do a combo. You can do a combo like this into a combo like that, right? So pretty solid, like I said, it's pretty easy to do combos with him, especially when you're popping his V-trigger, because like I said, when you pop his V-trigger, his medium punch, and especially his, his every neutral buttons he has becomes way better. In his V-trigger, you can do moves like heavy punch into his heavy stomp, and after the heavy stomp, you can actually end it with DP as well. You can end it with critical art as well if you time it right. Let's see if I can time it. Yeah, there you go. So that's a pretty solid combo, as you guys can see, and as you can see, it does pretty much tons of damage. So you can start out with a combo like this, and then do the critical art. That's gonna do tons of damage. So pretty much in his V-trigger, he gets faster moves. His footsies are fastest as well, as you can see. When it comes to his walking forward, it's fast as well. And when it comes to his dashing, it's pretty fast as well, as you guys can see. I think his backdash is the same as his normal. I think it's like a minor frame faster compared to his normal one. So pretty much just everything gets faster. And when it comes to his disc got more damage to it now, as you can see, 2 hits. And that's the same for his, pretty much anything you do with Necalli when it comes to damage wise, it's gonna be increased with him when you pop in his V-trigger. Let me see if I can do a DP after that. Yep, there you go. So already that. Look at the damage on that. Let me do it again. Let me do it again for you guys. Oh, I whiffed it. Let's see here. Yeah, look how much damage that is on Ryu. And Ryu is like, you know, the most basic character in Street Fighter. And he doesn't have like low health. He got pretty normal solid health. So you guys can see that does pretty much damage, right? You can even do the not the V-trigger, but the EX one into that, just to get more damage, as you guys can see. So he does pretty solid fucking damage when it comes to his V-trigger. Just keep in mind, like I said, he cannot do his V-reversal. So pretty much what you can do is it's gonna be easier for you to do medium stomp into crouching medium into a disc. It's gonna be way easier for you to do combos with him when you are in his V-trigger. That's pretty much what it is to it. His V skill as well, as you guys can see, his V skill is higher in the air. As you guys can see, there's a huge difference between his V skill when he is in his V-trigger and just normal. So keep in mind that when it comes to his fireball game with Necalli and he pops his V-trigger, it's gonna be way easier for him to do his V skill now, because as you can see, the recovery is way faster. So if you find someone, like I mentioned before at the start of my tutorial, if you see someone doing fireball game on you 24/7 with Necalli, this is gonna be the most solid thing, as you can see. Look how fast the recovery is, right? And especially like when it comes to this, it's way faster as well. I didn't even talk about his EX when it comes to his charging move. His EX one is pretty alright, even in his V-trigger and normally. The damage is of course different. And I think he got more hits when it comes to his V trigger. Yeah, he got more hits when it comes to his V trigger. So pretty much, if you see someone like Gal and he's doing his V trigger and popping a lot of booms, sometimes when you're doing a charging disc, EX charging disc, most of the time he will go through all the fireballs. But it depends on the timing. So if you time it right, you can go through a couple of fireballs, which makes his it pretty much makes his EX disc. I keep saying dick. What the hell? His EX disc. It makes it really, really solid when it comes to his V trigger. And that's pretty much it. I mean, there's not much about Necalli. I mean, that's basically like a beginner guide for him. So like I said, let's get a quick roundup for this. So like I said, Necalli, pretty solid character. One of the best characters in the game when he pops his V trigger. His fireball game is not like, you know, a fireball character, but it's still pretty solid when it comes to his V skill. Keep in mind using the V skill all the time when you're gonna build up his V meter. And the moment you pop V trigger, keep in mind that you cannot do V reversal. But that's gonna be your primary goal in any round. Every round you're playing with Necalli, your primary goal is to get into his V trigger, because it's gonna give you that advantage every time. It doesn't matter who you're fighting against, and it doesn't matter how solid the player is. So you're gonna get that advantage. Of course, it's not like Necalli is not unbeatable when he is in his V trigger. It's just gonna be a harder time for your opponent to deal with him. And like I said, if you have a solid defense with Necalli in his V trigger, so you don't need to use his V reversal at all, because of the primary offense you're throwing in on your opponent, he's gonna be a really pesky character to deal with, especially when you're doing his command throw and whatnot. So I guess that's pretty much it when it comes to Necalli. If there's any like questions you want to ask me, Yam Yam, or anyone else on YouTube, if anyone have any questions when it comes to Necalli, feel free to it, and I'll try to do my best and help you guys in the comment section below as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, he got some other moves as well, which I'm not gonna go into because, I mean, whatever, right? Why else would I use them? That's pretty much it. What should I do now? Should I do a Balrog tutorial? I could do a Balrog tutorial. Are there any basic punishes? I would pretty much say his basic punish is his crouching medium. It's basically like Balrog. I use crouching medium with Balrog a lot, and I go with crouching medium with Necalli as well, especially in his V trigger. I go with the crouching medium as well into the disc because I get more damage when I'm already in the V trigger, right? So pretty much, if you're doing like, so take this as an example. If you're fighting someone and he's pressuring you and he's doing really unsafe moves, right? You could do a crouching medium into a V trigger into crouching medium again, and then finish it with a disc. But keep in mind, when you're popping the V trigger, you don't even need to do the light disc. You can do the medium disc. So you can do this, into this, into this, and it's gonna combo, as you guys can see. So that's pretty much it. I haven't even talked about his crush counter as well. This is his crush counter, standing heavy punch, and his crouching heavy punch is a crush counter as well. I mean, keep in mind, Yam Yam, and anybody else in the stream chat right now, if you see someone doing a DP or something you know that you can crush counter, let me say them on crush counter though. You can pop V trigger right after that, and as you can see, when you're doing a standing medium punch, the opponent is gonna fly in the air. You can do some stuff after that. So you do this, and you pop V trigger. You can do a standing heavy punch again. Or if you want to be real fucking badass and mix it up here and there, you can do this as well. You can do a DP after that. That's what I would recommend to do when it comes to doing a cross counter into his V trigger, right? Just do a DP for that extra damage. Might as well do it. And if you got meter, you might as well just do, you know, EX DP. Because, I mean, this is pretty much solid damage, as you guys can see. pretty solid damage. I think you can do a Stomp as well. Let's see if you can do a Stomp. Probably not the heavy one. It probably have to be like medium or light. Yeah, yeah. So you can do a light Stomp after that. So this is the two options you can do when it comes to this, right? When you're popping the V trigger after you're doing a crush counter, standing heavy punch, so to get like the twist in the air. You can do a DP, like I said, if you don't want to risk anything. So pretty much if you're close to the corner like this, you can push them to the corner by doing a DP. If they're already in the corner, I mean, I would just go with a Stomp, right? Because they're gonna land pretty much as close to you. And if they're gonna do a quick rise, you can still reach them with a medium punch right there. So if they're trying to press any buttons on wake up, I mean, Necalli can reach pretty far when it comes to his crouching medium, as you can see. So let me just do that again, just to give you an idea. You have to time it, of course. Into the Stomp, bam, right here. So if they do something right here, most DP characters from this range are gonna expect you to do crouching medium. So they're gonna try to DP it. A character like Ryu and Ken, they got pretty solid DPs, so they can reach Necalli from this distance right here. So that's pretty much so I would just chill right here and wait for them to do a wake up. Or if you're pretty solid and you know they're not gonna do a DP and whatnot, I mean, you only have to do one dash into a command throw from this reach, right? So you can pretty much do tons of stuff after doing his V trigger into a Stomp, right? It's pretty much a good setup for anything. So you can get a counter from this range, right? When they're trying to do any buttons. And from this, you can do the disc if that is what you want to do. You can do his DP as well. Oh, that's not the DP. You can get the DP here. Oh, that's not the DP. I can't even do the DP. But pretty much you can do the DP. Or, if you got full bar, like I said, if you're not hesitating and you are fully aware they're gonna press a button on wake up, depends on if it is a DP or just a wake up jab, which everyone is doing in Street Fighter 5 now. You can do crouching medium, like I said, which is really fucking good, and it gives you plus on hit into his disc. Or if you want to be a badass and you got full meter, you can do it into his V trigger, which well, not his V trigger, but his what is it called? I can't even fucking remember. His critical art. If you are in V trigger, you can do as well. You can do crouching medium into Stomp, which is 2 hits, as you can see. So that's pretty much what I mentioned before when you're doing a crush counter into the Stomp right here, and you hit confirm with the Stomp, right? So if they're gonna do anything on wake up, you can do a crouching medium, which is gonna be a counter, which is gonna give you plus into a medium Stomp, right? And if you have full meter, right? If you have full meter, you can do a critical art right after that, as you can see, which is gonna give you so much more damage because in his V trigger, as you guys can see, his critical art is different compared to his normal one. Yep, that's how much damage the critical art do on normal, and pretty much when you pop V trigger, it does more damage, obviously. So this is a really solid gameplay, and like I said, you know, doing the crouching heavy or the standing heavy after they're doing a DP into a Stomp, and this is where you can mix them up. So if they're gonna hesitate, right? Let me set up the game plan here. So if you're doing this into the Stomp, right, and they're gonna hesitate, so they're gonna crouch the moment they wake up. From this range, you can do the overhead as well, which is gonna be a crush counter as well, if they're gonna press any buttons. So keep that in mind. That is a crush counter as well, and I forgot to mention that. His overhead is a crush counter. But pretty much from this range, when they wake up and they're hesitating, they're crouching, blocking, right? You can do the overhead, like I said, into his critical art as well. If not, and you think they're gonna hesitate completely, you can charge in and do a command throw, like I said. So like I said, it's pretty solid gameplay and you have with Necalli, especially when you go into his V trigger. You can do tons of stuff, tons of solid stuff. So he's a pretty much a straightforward character when it comes to that. So I guess that's it, huh? I guess that's it for this small little tutorial I did with Necalli. So for those people that's gonna watch this shit on YouTube, thank you guys for watching. Hope you new beginners in Street Fighter or new beginners with Necalli learned a thing or two. Like the video if you did, and subscribe for more. That's pretty much it.